Well, hello and welcome to the Tao Manifesting Tarot, the most unusual tarot reading on the planet. No matter where you look, there's not another one like it, and that's intentional. I want to focus on your ability to manifest in a proper way. We're all taught to manifest, but it's usually from a negative point of view. I can't have this, I can't do this, I can't. Yeah, I know we may say the words that I would like to have this, I'd like to have the other thing, and so on and so forth, but in our hearts, in our spirits, we don't feel that way. No, that's not us. So, what I'm trying to do here is to set up a situation using tarot as the final destination. I've done tarot for over 20 years. I find, from my point of view, it doesn't predict a thing, not a damn thing, but it does deal with your potential. It shows your potential in terms of frequency. I do 3 cards. There is a story, a singular message, an easy to understand message and energy, a frequency. That's the deal. Okay. So that's where your potential comes from. Here's the frequency from the tarot. It's not predicting anything, it's giving you an energy to use. Okay. So it's the message itself. I don't do rainbow stuff or unicorns or fantasy. I don't do that woo woo stuff. The focus on the human kryptonite. That's your ability to manifest, make pictures in your own head. And I'm not talking about a smartphone or desktop, laptop, or AI. I'm talking out of your mind, out of your spirit. Today, for example, on the Tao Manifesting Tarot reading, the message is they need your cooperation or your capitulation. It's kind of a co creation, no matter how you look at it. They need your energy, whether it's positive or negative. So it's either your cooperation or your capitulation, but they cannot do it on their own. So today's tarot frequency is the destination, but there's a map to follow. I use numerology and astrology because they are the signs of cycles. I've done those for over 50 years, tarot for 20 years. Tarot is potential. Numerology, astrology are cycles. If you understand the cycles, you see, you've heard the expression history repeats. That's the reason. We know when the next new moon or full moon is coming. We know when the holidays are coming. We know when it's going to be spring or fall. Is that some sort of satanic thing? No, it's knowing cycles. And that's what the numerology and astrology do. They tell you what cycle we are in. For example, 250 years ago, the planet Pluto, Uranus were in a certain location on the astrological chart in the sky. Right now, they're in the same spot, essentially. They're off a little bit. About a year or so ago was exact. But take a look. Pluto, Uranus, Pluto is evolution, Uranus is revolution. Look what's happening in the country and the world. We have to evolve. We know that. And revolution seems like the only option. A lot of that seems to be percolating in England. Thank God they're finally getting off of their fat ass and deciding we've had enough. But the point of the matter is these things work together. Alrighty, I'm going to explain that in just a little bit. I want to take a time out here before I get too very much involved. Got an email. One singular email can contact me. I will do my best every day to contact you. You can say yes, no, you're full of shit. Doesn't make any difference. Tao-tarot at proton.me. Tao-tarot at proton.me. I decided to get away from the Gmail stuff because I'm so tired of the same people all the time, and they're owned by people who I don't trust, I don't like, and are collecting data on us. Been doing it for decades. So I'm kind of stepping out as best I can. Tao tarot at proton.me. I thank you very much for all of that. So now we're heading to the energetic cycle. That's the tarot. That's what we tap into, what the message is. Does it fit or not? That's up to you. It's important to know the numerology because at that point you kind of know what's going on politically, socially, you get a sense. So it's like setting the table. That's the numerology and astrology, and the tarot is the meal itself. So you use the tarot to tap into that energetic frequency. You connect with the feeling, you act on it. So let's begin with the Tao Manifesting Tarot reading. We're going to begin with the astrology first. It's astrologic. I have been over the past several weeks doing the conquest of America using astrology. It's a very fascinating story. I've even learned a few things about American history that they never taught you in school. But the reason I did that Conquest of America is coming up July 4th, 2026, in less than a year. America's going to have its 250th anniversary. I'm not altogether sure we're going to make it in one piece. You know, we got this revolutionary thing going on from 1776. It's going to show up somehow. I'm expecting the unexpected. But let's assume we keep everything together essentially, and we do hit summer 2026, celebrate 250 years. So, what I decided to do was to talk about the conquest of America starting way back, maybe at Columbus, 1492, but there were steps along the way where the European bankers got in and wanted to control the New World. Most successful, the Bank of England was started by the bankers, the Jewish bankers, primarily the Rothschilds, but not exclusively. And about 1700, you had Adam Smith, a guy who was considered an economist of the day, and he put a new face on charging interest. It's called usury. It destroyed city states, countries. They were throwing Jews, bankers out of. In fact, if you take a look, the last 5,000 years, Jew bankers were thrown out of more than 200 countries 1,000 times. And it's the same. It was the same reason every time. It was usury. In fact, Jesus in the New Testament, who did he go after? The one time that Jesus, who took a beating in his life on so many different levels, one time in his life he kicked the shit out of somebody, was the Jew bankers in the temple. He was telling you usury was no good. But 1700, Adam Smith said, well, let's not call it usury anymore. Let's call it capitalism. And from that time forward, the Bank of England, who had control of the colonies, decided that they were going to take it over. And that's really what the history of the United States is, this constant battle between the Bank of England or its representatives and the American public. And to this moment, the bankers are winning. Let's go to the time period of 1880 to 1885. We've gotten past the Civil War, which was started and supported by the European Jew bankers. Okay, they wanted America divided because it would serve their purposes. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it. We already talked about it. But we get past the war, we start putting the parts and pieces together, and by the 1880s, things are going like hell. I mean, we're going for broke. People are moving out west. They're establishing homes and farms and whatever the hell the case may be. But there was a lot of other stuff going on. For example, see here, we have President James Garfield. He was assassinated. Now, they did try to get rid of a couple of presidents. They did get successful against Abraham Lincoln, who wanted to change the money system, and the European bankers said, "No, you don't." He didn't listen to them, and they offed him. Another guy who did very much the same kind of thing was Andrew Jackson earlier, but they failed in assassinating him. He said it was me or the banks. He was able to get by, not so much Abraham Lincoln and not James Garfield. In the early 1880s, he was assassinated. He said, quote, "Whomever controls the volume of money in any given country is the absolute master of industry and commerce." In other words, exactly what Meyer Rothschild said publicly in 1803. I don't care what you do with the government. Give me the money. Let me control the economy. Do whatever you want with the government. You take a look at America now, you take a look at the world now, that's exactly what's going on. We call it fascism. When you get the government and the corporate companies to work together, that's fascism, and it never works out good. So in the 1880 to 85 period, President James Garfield becomes yet another president assassinated for messing with the banks. There's still more ahead of them. The banks aren't going to give up. We also see in that time period, 1880, 1885, corporate powers expanding their reach. They explode across the country. Part of that explosion is that farmers take a beating. Central bankers don't like farmers because farmers grow food. Farmers keep you independent. And so there's always been this battle with bankers and farmers. Farmers usually getting the worst of it, and people then suffering because they have a lack of food. We also have one more item from the 1880s, early 80s to 85, and that is something called the Haymarket Riot. Workers fight back for equal rights and say enough with the shit from the corporate people. That was just a continuing battle, is a continuing battle today. But just from 1880 to 1885, you really get a very, very tight capsule of what the whole thing is all about. The banks, the bankers, Wall Street, they want to control absolutely. You're a president, doesn't make any difference. You get in the way, we'll kill you. Farmers, we don't want people to be independent. We don't want people to have full bellies. We're going to create shit for you. To the point where the Haymarket riot, workers go, hey, enough. We're going to fight. Problem with that is when they do that, you get the mafia, organized crime involved in their union, and then it's a disaster. So the beat goes on. Astrologically, what's going on in this time period is that Jupiter and Uranus are working together. They create narcissism. Corporations don't give a damn about you or me, couldn't care less. And it shows, even today. Clearly, they don't give a damn. And the other aspect happening around that time period was Pluto and Neptune, a hidden agenda, big time. They had big plans to control the economy, the country, and eventually the world. So you have narcissism with a hidden negative agenda. It pretty much says everything that you need to know about 1880 and 85 as we continue with the conquest of America. Let's go up to the meme of the day. They fooled you. Starbucks is a bank. Apple is a luxury brand. Google is an ad agency. Amazon is a data company. Red Bull is a media company. McDonald's is a real estate company. Facebook is a surveillance company. Business is not about what you sell. It's about the machine you build behind it. The rich play a different game. And if you're any kind of alert, conscious thinking, you're beginning to see it. It's a big problem. It's a huge problem. In fact, that is the number one rule in business. People go, well, the number one rule is to make money. No. Lie to your customers so well that they don't even know that they're being lied to. Now you're going to make your profit. Let's move on. I think I'm going to be going over to the hidden link, missing link. Talk about corporate criminal. Here he is. CEO of BlackRock just is now taking over the World Economic Foundation. They said, we like this guy. He's a dirty bastard, and we want him to be the WEF leader, and he is. He says you cannot have private homes. You cannot have cars. He's a criminal on every level that you could, because he wants you poor, wants you in debt. And he's changing international law just to be able to get it all done across the world. Bad. Let's get to the tarot. Death. Death is endings, shedding. It's getting rid of something. I know we're afraid of. But think of a snake. Every so often they have to shed their skin. That's what we're doing right now. It's unpleasant. It's uncomfortable. Even a little depressing. But it has to be done. We have to end our thinking, end the way we do business. If we do not change the way we live, what we value, if we don't change our value system, forget it. As bad as your dystopia can get, it's going to be worse than that. So it's time for a death, to end the old stuff and to begin anew. The problem is difficult. That is the Four of Cups. This person is bored, self-absorbed. I'm hurting for certain, and I don't care about anybody else. They're detached from themselves. You see the Four Cups. Well, 3 on the ground, 1 coming from the universe. It's a blessing. He doesn't care. Doesn't care. He's a narcissistic, myopic little bastard, and all he cares is about himself, and he can't figure out why he's disconnected from himself. We have to bring our current system down. We have no choice. You can't patch it up. It has to go down. You think Larry Fink is going to surrender his power at the World Economic Forum, or he's going to give up his control of BlackRock? You think, oh yeah, well, you guys are unhappy with me, so I'm just going to quit. No, he's not. He's going to stick you every way you can, just like you're on a barbecue. So The system has to die. You have to reconnect with yourself. And there you go. You get the Two of Wands at the end. That's so important because the Two of Wands is about planning, about personal power, not in a narcissistic way, but in an empowering way. To quit cowering, to quit hiding, to quit saying, I surrender. Remember, in the beginning of the reading, we said they need your cooperation or capitulation. That's what the deal is. And that Death card says we're not going to cooperate or capitulate. We're not doing that anymore. We're going to reconnect with ourselves with the Four Cups. We're going to really connect with our spirit, our heart, the things that make us feel alive and the things that give us power. So the Two of Wands says you got to make a decision. You can't just sit on the sidelines. You got to go yay or nay. Am I going to get in or am I just not going to do anything? That's up to you. That's up to each and every one of us. The choice is ours. It always is ours. That's why I don't deal with predictions. Too many variables. And the responsibility is to make a decision. Go back to Genesis, if you will. Adam and Eve story. What was the key to the Adam and Eve story? Make a decision. God said, no, don't eat of this tree. They did it anyway. Well, guess what? We have another decision equally important. How are we going to do it? It's up to you and I individually. We're out of time for today. Thank you very much for being here. You make it extra special good. I can't put it into words, but thank God for you. Also, thank God that you like and subscribe to the Tao Manifesting Tarot. It's very important because that's the way we get to hold our own against an internet that is very quietly becoming very, very tough, very hard. They want to lock us out. If you like and subscribe, it makes it tougher for them to do. So between now and the next time you and I do this tarot thing together, peace and blessings.